Okay. Yes. So let's begin the session. The first thing is we'll try and understand what we cover in the last session. Yeah. So basically in the last session, we have covered about the fundamental of Angular. In that we understood about building blocks of your Angular application. And we have seen the architecture of the Angular application. And then last thing is we have understood that what are the basic steps can be involved for creating the Angular application. And the last thing we understood here, the folder structure of your Angular application. In that, the few things we have just understood, that is the package.json. Okay. What is the use of package.json and what is the important of that? And then we understood about the how the execution can be begun of your Angular application by whenever a client is sending the request there. So we understood that the entry point of your program is what? Main.ts, right? First, it will be execute the index.html, and then it will take the main.ts and it will be bootstrap the app module, right? Once it's bootstrap the app module, then it will open the app component. So that means it will bootstrap the app component. Bootstrap means start. Okay. Then followed with, once it has been come to the app.component, we understood that it will be interact with the template and whatever the things we have been specify inside the app.component.html, it is going to print in that one, right? And apart from that, we also understood the complete architecture, like what is what. We don't know like how exactly is working, but we understood what is a module, what is the use of services, what is the use of template component and the directives. Just what is what, nothing else. Okay, fine. Now what we'll do here in today's session, we'll be understanding about how to work with your Angular application. How to work with your Angular application. So first we'll try to understand about your app.component.html. And in that one, we had the meta information like a selector, template URL. Okay. All these are what? A meta information about your components. We'll try to understand what is what. Okay. Once we understand the behavior of your app component, okay, then I'm going to discuss for you how to, okay, first I'll just remove this one. First, we'll understand how to add the bootstrap in your Angular project. Okay, I'll give the couple of examples, and then how to add the Google font in your Angular project, and how you can work with the bootstrap, okay, with the Angular. Then once you are comfortable with that, I'll show you how to design the landing page within few minutes. How basic the land page we can design it with the help of Bootstrap. So that thing we'll try to understand the today's session. I'll repeat once again. Today we are focusing on working with the app component. What is the app component contain? That is component module. And then what component contain the metadata? We'll try to understand about metadata. Okay. And then we'll try to understand that how to add the bootstrap in your Angular application and how we can add the Google fonts in your Angular application and how we can work with that. Fine. So this is your agenda of today's session. So I'll request you, please listen carefully. Whenever you feel that, note down the points. Otherwise, all the points I'm giving anyhow in the notes for you. Fine. So let's start, people, with the first thing is, what is component? What is component? See, basically, if you look at your project, my project is available in Verma. We have been created a new folder, right? Projects. This is only, not this. Angular applications. Yes. This only, Angular applications. This is our project. Let's open the Visual Studio. Okay. If you see that, yesterday I told you that whenever we create any Angular application, by default, it is giving the two things for you. One thing is a root component as an app module, and the root component as an app component. If you see that, whenever it is creating a component, whenever it is getting a component, it is giving how many files for you? Read out now. 1, 2, 3, 4. One is TypeScript file is giving. Second thing is giving what? HTML file. Next thing is giving what? CSS. Along with that, it is also giving one testing file, that is spec. You can write each specs or test. Okay. So those files also included here. So that means whenever you create a component, it will provide how many files? One is TypeScript file, one is HTML file, CSS, and specs file. If you see the first one, if you see that the first one here, in this TypeScript file, what we can do, we can bind the data. Yes or not? Yes or not? That means we can store the data, and also we can write some logic. Yes or no? We can store the data, and also we can write what? Logic, where inside your app.component.ts. Now, once we store the data, once we write a logic here, if you want to present this data, we should take the help of what? App.component.html. So this data, where is going to present here now? In the HTML. Come on, inside the HTML. So this is your acting like what? Template. And this is what? Component. So there is a communication between what? Component and template. There is a communication between what? Component and template. So if you want to do the communication, how we can do all the things, we'll try to understand. First, you understand in high level, very quickly. Okay, now what is what? Okay, now if you see that, apart from that, if you want to make look and feel better, whatever the content you are writing in a template, that is inside the HTML, if you want to make look and feel better there, right? So in this case, we can include all your CSS file inside Verma app.component.css here. Okay, right? So whenever you're working with an application for the specific component, you can store the data, and you can write a logic inside the TypeScript file. This is the first step. This data, if you want to present it here, you can just take the help of HTML. Yes or no? Where you can present the data there. But if you want to make look and feel better here for the specific component, you can just take the help of app.component.css. Three things are clear, ma? Are you understanding? Okay. Now, if you want to test it, the specific component, in the component, you may be creating a form, or maybe you are getting a text field for search, or you are presenting the data, whatever the logic you're writing. If you want to test it, those things, right? Then in this case, that logic we can specify inside Verma app.component.spec.ts there. Fine. So 4 things are clear: TypeScript file, HTML file, CSS, and the testing file. Fine. See, as I said here, a component. Let me take the first one. We'll understand the first one, the component. So what is a component here? Come on, guys. What is a component here? So generally here, the component is basically a class here in case of TypeScript. which is basically represent what? Which is representing what? A certain section of your web page. So what is the meaning of this one? Suppose if I'm taking a website, any website, if you want to design it here, yes or no? You basically what you do, ma? You divide this website into in the form of division or not? That is header, one is header, footer, body, left side and right side. Yes, this is how you divide it, right? Next, what we do inside this, we take a module. What is the modules we can take much generally? We have the home, services, about us, login. Next one is what? Register. What is that? Search. Like this, you can have module as well as submodules. You can have module as well as submodules. Okay. So when you're taking any project, here, inside this project, when you're designing the land page, basically you divide the land page into 3 categories, that is header, footer, and body. And inside the header part, you will add all these modules. Okay, modules here. Now, if you see that when you're designing the application, what I can do? So this I can make as one component. I can make this as one component. I can make this as one component. I can make this as one component. Register as one more. Search as one component. So all these are components. And all these components are the child components of app component. All these are child component of app component. So if you take a particular login component, whenever the user has clicked on the login, it will open what? Login page or not? It will open what? Login page, where you can do what? Username, password, and you'll enter what? Login one button. So we'll enter the username, we'll enter the password, and we enter the button here. So once the user has entered username and some password, hit on this button. Hit on this button. Now what will happen? If it is success, on the success, it will open one. It will open one. Very good. What a dashboard. So dashboard is also one component. Dashboard is also one component. Inside this component. Now, when you see the dashboard, you can find something called as logout. Yes or no? You can find one logout button. Next, on the left hand side, you can find some submodules. Okay, now I'm not giving here like task 1, some task 2 you are doing here, blah 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 blah. Okay, right? So many things you are doing here. So what I can do here now, I can also create the submodules, like some components of the dashboard, subcomponent of the dashboard. So whatever the components which I'm creating, which is related to the dashboard, which is under dashboard, and the dashboard is under what? App component. What? App component. Are you understanding, guys? So in short, if you see that the component class represent the section of the web page. For example, like what? Login form. If you take a login form you're creating, it will be act like a one login components. Are you understanding, people now? Is it clear? So generally here, in case of Angular, they have been given a root component that is nothing but what, ma? Come on, guys. App dot component. So under this, whatever you were creating, whatever the things you are creating, like a login, anything, All these are what? Come on, guys. All these are what? Child components. What ma? Child components. Child components of what? Of your app component. ठीक है ना? What actually the component contain? Yes. What actually the component contain? What actually component contain what? Once it contain what? Property as well as methods. It contain what? Properties and methods. So we know that a class contain properties and method, but how we can say that class will be act like a component? Can I say, for example, just I'm giving an example for you. Try to understand the things. If I write class login component, it contain what? Come on, guys. Username, password. Okay, na? Validation. Come on, tell me. Can I say this is acting like a component? No. This is very normal class. This is very normal class. No? This is not a component. This is normally class. But how we can say this class will be act like a component? If you declare, what you declare? You declare the directive. If you declare the directive with a decorator, that is at the rate component. What? At the rate component. So this class is normal class only, but I cannot say this class will be act like a component. So what we have to do? You need to specify a directory, that is what? At the rate, come on guys, at the rate component. In this one, we need to provide metadata. We have to provide what? Metadata. So what metadata? Let's learn that properties here. Let's learn that properties of the component here. Okay, guys. So what is the first point, pa? What is the first point? What is the first one here? Selector. What? Selector. So what is the selector here? What is the selector? It represents the selector as a tag to invoke what? Component. So what is the meaning of this one? If you just look at, we had a component, that is an app component, which is having some property and also have some, what ma? Some method here. Something I'm writing there. Okay, na? I have a property, I had a method. I have a property, I have a method. Now if you see that, how I can bind this component? How I can bind this component? If I want to bind this component, okay, we need to represent this as a tag, because generally the browsers will not understand this one. Whether the browser will understand this one? No, the browser understand what? Only HTML tags. Yes or not? So what we have to do in order to represent this, we have to create our own tag. Why we want to create our own tag? Because I want to invoke this component. I want to invoke this component. Inside this component, whatever the things there, it has to be present. So that's the reason we use what? One selector. Selector represent what? Tag. That is user defined tag. Okay, that is what? User defined tag. So for example, if you see, we have a app component, that is a root component. For the root component, what is the tag we have selected? App. So by naming itself, we can recognize, yeah, this is a root tag. This is a root tag. Are you understanding, ma? Got the clarity now, everyone? Okay. So this is the what? First one as a selector. But where we can use these selectors? Where we use these selectors?
Template.
Inside the template. Excellent. Inside the templates. Look at now. What is the file we have? Starting file? Index.html. Index.html. So here we have HTML. Inside that, what we have, ma? head, right? Next we have what? Body. Okay. So inside the body, what we can do? Inside the body, we can specify the text, images, audio, and video. Anything you can write inside the body. So if you see that, whatever the data which is there in the component, I want to bind entire data here. Okay, inside where HTML. So whatever the tag which we have been created here, yes or not? See, come on, tell me where we are using this one. Come on, guys, where we are using this one? Where you have to use? Come on, where you have to use? Inside the body. Are you understanding, guys, now? Inside where? Body. Because we know that by default is invoking what? Index.html or not. So inside this HTML page, this is your page here, right? Inside that, we have been open the root component. Come on, guys. Which component? Come on, guys. Which component? Root component. That is what? App dot component. Okay, guys. Understood now? That only is talking here. That only is talking here. Now clear now? Everyone is understood? Come on. Are you understanding? Okay. Suppose, just imagine that I want to create my own component. Just close this one. Close this one. Yeah. I want to create my own component. Can you just help me how to create our own component? Come on, guys. Everyone has to reply me. Do you know how to create our own components, online people? Yeah. We use a command called as ng. What? Ng. G for generator. C for component. Let's do one thing. Let's create one component whose component name is login. When I click on login, that means when I click on enter here, how many files we can expect? Major, 4 files. What are the 4 files? TypeScript file, HTML file, CSS file, and testing file. Okay, na? Look it now. Go and check it. Can you see, guys, now? See? First, look at TypeScript file, CSS file, HTML file, and CSS. Go and check it here now. Under this, created or not? Okay. Okay. Now, fine. Go here. Tell me, what is the selector? Come on, what is the selector? App dot login here. Now, what I'm doing here, I will ask him to the index.html. Hey, index.html, you don't open what? Root. You open what? App happen login here. Let's test now. Do you know how to test it? npm start here. Let's open in the browser. Yeah. What happened? What happened, guys? Is it working or not working? Go and show the console. Selector app root did not match with any elements. Go back. I think so. I have not saved. We are not saved now. Just wait. Something. Go to where, ma? Login dot. Yes. What we have taken? App happen login. Correct only, no? Yeah, app happen login. Okay. The selector app root did not match any element. Okay. Webpack error. The selector app did not match. Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine. If you just look at here, the login component the login component, whatever you have taken, if you just added direct index.html, whether it's working as of now? No. We'll do one thing. I'll just copy. What is the root component? Root. Okay, na? Save it. Okay. Is it working? Yes. Now what I'm doing here, go to the app.component.html. Okay, na? Inside that, I'm just keeping what? Login here. Now it's working or not? Look it. You see? So what is the meaning of this one here now? What is the root component? Root component. Come on, what is the root component? App component. Okay, inside that we have created our own component. Whose component name is what? Login. Login. Where it is opening here? Under the app component. Look it now, all of you. Look at the diagram. What is the root component? Simple, yaar. What is the root component? Come on, what is the root component? App or not? Yes, app component. I'm just giving app component. Okay. Inside the app component, this is your browser, this is your root component. I'm just giving root as like this. Okay. Inside that, what is the content we have written? What is the content we have written? Welcome to first Angular. Come on, guys. Application, right? Okay. Now we have created our own component or not? What is the component we have created? Everyone has to tell me, So we have created our own component. What is the component name? Come on, which component? Login component or not? Yes. Okay, na? Inside that we have written something. Something we contain is written. Okay. So look at now. What is the root component? App component. Under that we have created a component. Are you understanding? So make sure that which will be the always root component? App. Under that you can create any number of components. Okay. So for example, if you see that India, if you take in India, how many states we have? How many states? 29. So just imagine that India is a root component. Under that, I can get 29 components. Each component I'm taking one state. Yes or not? Are you understanding? Got the clarity or not? Yes or not? One state have many districts or not? So can I create some more child components? Yes, we can make it here. Are you understanding? I'll show you that also when you're working with multiple components. Okay. Now come back. Understood the behavior? Forgot this one. I'm deleting as of now. Not required. Yeah, we need to work only with this one as of now. Come on, guys. Have you understood about selector? Come on, guys. Everyone has to reply. Have you understood about selector? Everyone, please reply me. Selector is okay. What is a selector and why we use selectors? Selectors are basically used to define our own tag, which is used to invoke component. Understood now? Okay, next one. What is the next one we have? Okay, so just wait. First, we'll discuss what? Template. Two things are there. One is template, and second thing is template URL. I'm going step by step now. These are very fundamental basics. If you know this one properly, you can play with your components. Otherwise, literally, you're going to cry. So please listen, keep your mind here, concentrate. Whatever the points I'm discussing. Template. What is the next one? Template. Let's learn about templates. Selector, any doubt? Online people? Any queries? Can I proceed for the template? Okay, fine. Why we use template, guys, now? It represents the template content of the means content in the browser. You can say it represents the template contained. That's it. Is enough. What is the use of template? It represents the content, or it represents the content inside the template. What? It represents the content inside the template. So in short, whenever you I was writing h1 tag. Which tag? Header tag. You know header tag? So I'm writing here, welcome to first Angular application. Something I'm writing here. Okay, na? Right? So if you just go to the browser, what happened now? Read. Okay, I'll tell you. Why? Because we have deleted, no? What we deleted? Come on, guys. What we deleted? So we forgot to remove from module. That's the reason. Okay, now it's working? Working or not? So welcome to first Angular application. So tell me, earlier, we used to print where? Inside the HTML, but we are printing inside the HTML page directly? No, we are taking the help of what? Template. So now what is happening here? What is happening now? So when I send the request to the index, okay, so we had a selector. What is the selector? Approved. So it will invoke what? Component. Yes, the component communicate with what? Template to represent what? Data. So finally we got the data or not? Okay. Now what if that, if I want to write a second line? Second line. Let's say, for example, I want to write second line. Let's say assume that first line, second line. Again. Is it working, guys? Is it working? So if you see that when you're working with a template, if you want to bind more than one line, yet because this is single code, right? Single code. So when you try to write here, is it allowing us to write? No. So whenever you work with a multiple lines in template, so instead of using single code, you can use, what is this? Backtick. What do we call? Backtick. Within the backtick symbol, we can write, come on guys, we can write the multiple lines of code. Go and check it now. Is it working, ma? Are you understanding? See, I'll repeat once. So generally when you're working with a template, generally, how the data can be represented, ma? Guys, how the data can be represented? The data can be represented in a single code. Okay, na? How? Come on, guys. How? Single code here, right? So what if that, if you want to write a multiple lines? What if that, if you want to write a multiple lines? So can I just take the help of the single code to be write multiple lines of code? No, because when I say the HTML, you will write so much HTML code or not? If it is your completely the dashboard in the sense you write some multiple lines, like around at least 50 to 100 lines of code you write. So you can take the help of this one template here? No. So what we have to do, if you want to bind the multiple lines, you can use backtick symbol. Which symbol? Backtick symbol. So here you can specify the multiple lines of code. Here you can specify what, ma? Multiple lines of code here. Are you understanding, ma? Everyone got the clarity? Understood or not understood? Look at now. People, are you getting what I mean to say? Yes? Okay. So now, if you see that, here, as of now, what we are doing here, we are hard coding. What we are doing here? So directly we are hard coding the data. Now what I want here in this one, first one, I want to give the message as welcome to, okay, home page. This is how it should come. And down here, I want to print here Ashok IT services. Now, generally, if you take this message also, we are hard coding or not. So I don't want to hard code. I want to get the details from the component. I want to get these details from where? Component. So I want to take here like first one, message. I want to take as what's the message you want to take, ma? Come on, guys. What's the message I want to take? Copy and paste here. And next one, company name I want to take as Ashok IT services. Okay, na? Are you getting nice now? So I'll remove this one because I'm not hard coding here. Okay. Now what is my requirement, people? My requirement is I want to get the data from the component to the template. Don't tell me. What is my requirement? I want to get the data from where? Component to the template. So the thing is how we can communicate. How we can communicate between the component and the template. So we use something called as what? What we use, guys? Data binding. What we have to use? Data binding. So why we use data binding? If you want to communicate between the component as well as template, in this case, we can just take the help of what? Data binding. Data binding. So there are different ways to present the data in case of data binding. The first approach which I'm taking here, interpolation. What's the first one? Interpolation. What is the first one, ma? Interpolation. What is the first one? Interpolation. Interpolation can be represented like this. Understood, ma? How it is represented? Open flower braces. Again, open flower braces. Close and close here. In between, you can specify your properties. What you can do? In between, you can specify your properties here. Are you understanding? So come on, just tell me, help me. What a message. Okay? Let's see whether it's working or not. Is it working or not? Yes or not? Now, if you see, the advantage is whenever you make some changes inside the component, automatically is impacting inside where? Template. So this is how the component as well as template is communicating with each other there. Understood? Similarly, what we can do now? Come on, guys. I can specify the component name. Come on, guys. Are we hard coding the data? Still we are doing here as of now. Okay, this data from where we can take? From the form, from the data, anywhere you, if you want to take, you can take it. So that this data can be present inside where? Inside where? Template here. Are you understanding? So tell me, guys, what is the use of template? It used for representing the data inside the browser. So in this case, we can take the help of template. Okay. Why we should go for template URL if we have already a template? See, as of now, how many lines of code I have written? 2 lines. There is no problem. Suppose you're completely one website you're designing, completely one land page. Can you expect how many lines of code? At least for 100 to 200 lines of code. So those 100 to 200 lines of code you have to bind inside this template. And it's became very difficult for debug because you are writing both the view logic as well as business logic in a single file there. So rather than writing this logic inside this, I can take a separate file. I can take, come on, separate file. Which file we can take? Come on, guys. Which file we can take? Separate file. Which file? HTML file. Inside this HTML file, we can write the content here. See, I'm writing H1, same thing. So what we can do here? Message. And the second line is what, ma? Come on, guys. What we have here? Company name here. Go and check it here. Is it working or not? So tell me, what is the difference you are finding between the template as well as template URL? What's the difference, ma? What's the difference? So basically, you can use a template if you have only the few content. It can be work. But what if that if you're completely one page you're designing? It's very difficult, right? See, I'm not denying that you cannot do. You can. But it's very difficult to bind the entire view with the business logic. So that's the reason I'm taking the separate file where I can write completely the code, the HTML code, which is used to present the data. So template URL, it will specify the location of your HTML file where you're presenting the data. I hope it's clear. Everyone got understanding? Okay, next one is what? Style URL. Okay, what is the purpose of this one? Come on, guys. What's the purpose of this one? When you're working with the CSS, in how many ways we can work? 3 ways. How many ways? Inline, internal, and external. Come on, tell me. In how many ways we can work CSS, ma? Come on, how many ways? Okay. So first one is inline. Next one is internal. Third one is external. So inline we use what? A tag. Which tag we use? Style tag. Which we use? Here we can specify name of the property and a value. Yes or not? Like key, comma, value. Yes or not? Here we can specify the property and here we can specify the value. So for example, I'm taking a property called as color. Which color I want to make? Right. If it is more than one property and with a semicolon, I want to give font size 30 pixels. Okay. What is the problem with inline CSS? What is the problem with inline CSS? Yeah. So if you want to add at least 10 properties, it's very lengthy code, right? It's very difficult for writing inside the elements there. Rather than that, we can take all internal. How we can represent internal? Within the style. Here we can specify what? Elements. Yes or not? We can specify what? Elements. For example, for H1, I want to apply this property. What property? Color red. Next, one side 30 pixel. Like this, you can specify a number of property. But what is the drawback of internal? What's the problem? Why we are going for external?
No
External.
reusability.
Yes, ma. What? Code reusability. Excellent, excellent. External CSS can be used for reusability. So that means in a website, the same property, if you're using for multiple elements, rather than repeating more than one time, you can take what? External CSS, my CSS.css file, and here you can specify your properties. Yes or not? Yes. And then finally, what we can do? You want to leave? Then sit properly. You won't struggle. What we can do? we can include this in the HTML. Are you understanding, guys? So if you see, whenever we create a component, if you want to modify some content in terms of colors, font, or anything, so he has given some file whose file name is what? app.component.css. So whatever the properties which you are applying here, this properties will be applied for that specific component only, not for other components. Are you understanding? For example, let's see. In case of this one, I want to change the color of H1 as well as H2. Okay, background color I want to change. And I want to change the font size for both H1 as well as H2. And I want to change the color of the font for the both H1 and H2. How we can do it? H1 tag, background color. I'm using some, let's say, black, and color I'm taking white. Font size I'm just taking as 30 pixels, right? So if you want the same thing for H2 also, you can give H2. The same thing if you want to apply for both the things, you can comma H2, right? Now what happens now in this case? Is it affecting or not? Right? So this is affecting only for that particular component. Particular component only. Means in that component, whatever the elements you're using, it is making changes only for that particular component. But if I'm creating another component, this thing I cannot use there. Are you understanding? This thing I cannot use there. That means if I'm creating login component, I cannot use this property inside where? Login component. Are you understanding, people? Sir, I want to use in login component also. I want to use in register component, same properties. Then rather than giving all this property inside the specific one, you can give to the external CSS. There is one global CSS we have, that is style.css. You can add it. If you add it inside this, you have 100 components in your application. For all the 100 components, wherever you're using H1, H2, it will make some changes. Are you understanding? Come on, guys. Are you understanding? All of you. Is it clear or not clear? Got the clarity? Huh? Understood or not understood? So tell me in short way. Still, there is a lot of things. I'm going slowly one by one. I'll inject so many points. Okay. I'm going very basically. Tell me a point, guys. Come back now. Where is our, we are understanding what? Style URLs. Why are we using style URLs? Come on, guys. Everyone has to reply me. Huh? If you want to make your website to look and feel better way, okay, so you have to take the help of CSS, right? So we can add some properties like what? Color properties, background color properties, font properties, text properties, etc. Those properties you can add it inside the CSS, which can be impact to the respective component there. Understood, ma? Everyone got the clarity now? So rather than, okay, you're taking here, you can specify, because already by default is giving one CSS file. So inside that CSS file, shortcut, you can open it here. You can include those properties here, there. Okay, na? So first I will make you to understand the subject. Then I'll take on case study. Then we'll try to understand all the things one after the another. First, you understand how exactly is working. What is the behavior of the respective properties here? These three things are clear for everyone, or it is not clear? Or I have to repeat once again. Online people. People, you can reply. Online people. Is it clear, ma? All of you? I want answers from your side. I hope everyone got clarity now. So @ component is clear. Selector is clear. Template URL as well as, huh? So the first thing we'll discuss. as of now, I cannot discuss. Okay. We have to talk about services. I have to talk about services. These two things I'll be discussing in coming sessions, not now, because you cannot digest. Okay. Right. First thing we covered. Yes, we understood about the component. These two things are very clear for everyone. Any queries? Okay. Online people, clear. Great. Now, let's learn. Let's learn what? How we can add the bootstrap in Angular. So what is a bootstrap, guys? Why we use bootstrap? Anyone? Bootstrap is one of the framework or not? Which framework? Huh? Why we use this framework? In order to make your page as responsive. What? In order to make your page as, so without using bootstrap, can we make a page as responsive? Yes. Yes, we can make it, but we have to write a logic. Yes, we can. We have to write a logic there. Rather than using that thing, we are taking the help of what? A framework. So let's start here working with the bootstrap. Go to the official website. So what is the current version it is? I'm using 4.6x version. Okay, now 4.6 version there. Okay, fine. So first thing is, what is the bootstrap? It is used for developing the page. What page? A responsive side here. Okay, now if you want to start working, what you can do? Come on, guys. You can install it. You can install the bootstrap. Okay, I will show you different ways how to work with the bootstrap with your Angular. First, we'll go. Just write this point here. Okay, so what is the official website we have? I'm just keeping here. This is our official website. You can go. Now, let's learn how to install the bootstrap in Angular project. Okay, so here basically there are different approaches. Okay, following are few. First one. Okay, so what is the first approach I'm going to use? First, go to the version 4.x. There is something called as what? Getting started. Okay, so the first approach I'm going for CDN. Which approach? CDN. You already have learned, right? No, miss, I cannot help it. The first approach I'm taking what? CDN approach. Means I'm just taking the references. I'm taking the references. Just copy this reference. Look it now. Relation H reference. You know why we use this one? Just now I explain you. Go. Take this copy. Search it. Something is miss. Double quotes. Can you see here? Yes or not? So I want to include all this external properties in my Angular project here. So first I'm including here this CSS. Where we can include this CSS? What is our entry point of your program? Index dot. So go here and paste it here. Come on, guys. What are you doing here now? I'm just copying the location and I'm just pasting inside where? HTML. Inside the HTML, where I'm pasting? Inside the hashtag. So what we have now, it is one of the CSS file which is getting from where? Come on, it is getting from where? This location. This is a location here. Okay, now? Are you understanding, guys, now? Okay, this is the step one. Now, generally what happens like, when you're working with the Bootstrap, we have so many components in the Bootstrap, which is given for you directly so that you can integrate in your project. Some components in the Bootstrap will work dynamically. And that dynamically code, they have been written in JavaScript. What? Like for example, if you're working in carousel, that image slider work dynamically changing that code they have written in JavaScript. So not only this, you should also include what? JavaScript files. So I'm including the JavaScript files. So where we can include the JavaScript files? Inside the body or inside the header tag also. First I'm adding what inside the body. Done? Yes or not? Come on, tell me guys, what do we have to do? Everyone has to tell me. Come on guys, how we can add it? Come on, how we can add it? We can add it, first go to the official website, get started, and then inside that copy the CSS file, external CSS file as well as JavaScript file. These two files where you have to keep inside the index.html. Why we are keeping inside the index.html? Because that is our, yes or no? Everyone understood? Okay, this is a step one. Now, can I say that now my Angular project has been added to the Bootstrap or not? Yes, it has been added. Now, if it is added, how we can test it? Let's test by taking one of the component. Let's take any component. Let me take any component. Okay, I'm just copying this one, entire thing. Let's test whether it is working or not. Okay, go and check it. Close all the things. Open your HTML. Just remove for the time being and paste it. And go and check it here. Is it working or not working? Is it working or not working? Huh? Wait. Go to the index.html. I'm removing this file. What happened? Huh? Is it working now? It's not working or not? Why? Because we have removed the external, that is min.css file we have removed from where? Index.html. So once I remove this file, whether your Angular application, when we are using inside the HTML here, like what? We are using what? A property. What is the property I'm using? Alert. Alert space alert hyphen primary. Can I use this? No. Where it is defined? It is defined inside the min.css. That is bootstrap.min.css. Where it is available? Just not recognizing. Where it is available, guys? It is available inside. Come on. Inside bootstrap.css. Are you understanding? Is it clear? People, you know CSS? Tell me yes or no. Anything you tell me. You don't know, tell me don't know. If you say yes, that means you know. Right. Okay, good. So understood now? Come on. Right? So tell me how to add it. Now refresh it. Is it working or not working? Okay. So if you have tested successfully, if it is working, I'm going to remove this. To whom I want to apply? Come on guys, to whom I want to apply? Per message. Okay. How we can apply? By taking what? How we can apply the Bootstrap? First tell me, you know CSS or I have to teach CSS? You know CSS, right? Tell me, excellent. Tell me. How we added? Very good. So class is what? Attribute is what? Attribute. H2 is what? Element. H2 is what? Element contain attributes. Attributes will provide meta information, and attributes will include in double quotes, and inside the double quotes we specify value. Is it clear? Understood? Okay. Now what property you want to apply for H2? You decide it. There are number of classes, number of properties which is belong to the bootstrap they have given, right? If you want to work, see, there are so many things are there. Alert, badges. What is this? I will explain all the things. What is this? All the things I'm going to implement in our project. Okay. What is this? Carousel means slider, image slider. Okay, na? Like this we have. What is this? You can use a forms here. Okay, everything you can use. What is this? Navigation. Okay, nav bars, right? So I want to work with what? Text transform. Okay, I want to apply this one. Text. How we can use a class? What is the class we have? Text hyphen. I want to make it uppercase. Now, what is the text hyphen uppercase?
Attribute.
What is the text hyphen uppercase? This is one of the don't know. What is this? Have you learned CSS? So this is not class for CSS. This class is not for CSS, HTML. This class for only without knowledge of HTML, CSS. Then how you are going to design? For designing, we need the knowledge or not?
This
Basic
is
knowledge
elements
is there or
attributes
not?
property.
Yes, ma, property. Very good. Is a property. Where they have written the logic for that one. Okay. Now go and check it. Converting the uppercase or not? Are you understanding? Are you understanding or not? What is the clarity? Can I add more than one property? Can I add? Let me add this property. What is the property? Font weight hyphen bold. How we can add it? Look it. If you want to add more than that, okay, it's not given. How we can add it? Tell me. Space. Can I give it here now? Go and check it. It is working bold. Look it. Working bold or not? So you can add so many things. You can add so many things. So if you go for colors, colors also given. See, colors are there. What is this? Text hyphen. So text hyphen primary. Go and check it. Are you understanding? So what is the advantage? What is the advantage if I use this? Are you going to write the code from the scratch? Already they have given the classes, so many classes. We can include on our project, depends on your requirement there. Okay, na? Got the clarity? Understood or not understood? Okay, now look it. Any confusion here, online people, before proceeding?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Look at, guys. Let's do one thing. All of you look at me. Please look at. Go to your HTML page. I'm reviewing all the things. You know something called as a division tag? Why we use division tag? To divide the page into multiple parts, like a section. Yes, on like a section, you can divide it like header, footer, body, content, like this, you can divide it. So I'm using a division tag. I'm writing a class called as container. I'm writing the class called as container. Just imagine that your website like this. I'll give it. This is your website. Okay, na? This is your website. This website, I want to divide into multiple parts. What is this, ma? Header. Next one is footer. That's it. Header and footer. Okay? How we can divide? If you're working with a bootstrap, you can use something called as grid system. Which system? Huh? You can use what? Grid system, which is helping for your dividing your page. Okay, now I'm taking the help of grid system where it contains 12 columns. What? How many? So each row contains how many? 12 columns. So you can divide it here like this. Like this, you can divide it. Okay, na? So for example, Flipkart. Go to the Flipkart. See, this is one row. This is another row. Okay, let me open some anything. Cameras and nothing. Yeah. So this is also one row. This one row is divided into how many parts? 2 parts. How many parts? 2 parts. You can divide like this. Are you understanding, guys, now? Yes or not? So what I want here is, I want to take a container and inside that, I want to take the first row. First row. Inside this first row, I want to take it here, a column. I want to take one column of size 12. Of size 12. Okay, na? Size of what? 12. Means 12 columns I want to occupy totally. Inside this, I want to keep what I want to keep? Amma? Come on. I want to keep what? Header. So in the first row, I want to keep what? Header part. Copy this one. Second row, I want to keep content. Okay. Are you understanding, everyone? And in the third row, I want to keep what? Footer. Are you understanding? Same thing I've divided here. Okay, na? So in the first row, come on guys. First row, I want to occupy the complete space. It take the 12 columns, complete space I want to occupy. Inside that, I want to keep header part. Second row, I'm taking. In the second row, I want to occupy the complete space. Okay, na? And I want to take a third row. Which row, ma? Third row. And for the third row also, I want to occupy complete space. In the first one, I want to give header. Second one is body. And third one is footer here. Now, if you see that, instead of you writing a logic for the navigation, we already have what we have? Come on, guys. What we have? Navbar. I'm just copying here. I'm just copying a navbar. You don't worry. I'll be discussing. Don't be panic. Go and include here. Go and check it in your website. Could you able to find it, ma? Come on, guys. Could you able to find or not? Whether you have to write the code from the scratch. Can you write or not? By using what? Unordered list. By using what? We can take another list. We can write the CSS. to make a horizontal, give some spaces, remove the underline. We can do or not. So rather than you writing the code, what I'm doing here, I'm just taking the Bootstrap components, copy the navigation bar and add it in your project. Now, what changes you want, you make the changes from there. What changes you want, you can make some changes. For example, this is what a navbar. I want to remove the navbar and I want to add Ashok IT. What I want to do? I want to keep what a Ashok IT here. Let's say Ashok IT. Okay, now let's go back. Can you see here now? So whatever the changes you want, those changes you can make it, depends on your requirement there. Okay, now people, online people is clear? Yes, understood? So tell me, conclude now for today, what you learn? Come on. See, there are so many things. I'm going slowly. I'll be taking you. Complete one land page you have to design within 2 to 3 days. Okay. So tell me what we have learned so far. Come on. We have learned how to add a Bootstrap. How we can add it here? Everyone has to tell me. Go to the Bootstrap official website. Take the 4.6 version and copy this. Which file? First one is, what's the first file, ma? Bootstrap.min.css. Okay. Second thing is what? Second thing is what? We need to add JavaScript files. So in the JavaScript files, what are the extensions we have seen? Bootstrap min.js, popper min.js, and the stream. Okay. This thing you need to paste here. Okay. So copy all this file inside where? Index.html page. So go to the index.html. Do you able to see, all of you? This is I'm making for your notes. Go and paste it here. Okay, na guys, now? And finally, how we can test it? How we can test it? Next step. In order to test it, we can modify the app.html file and use the Bootstrap properties, components, etc. Understood, all of you? Okay. So today is enough. So I request you, till here you can practice. Till you are practice today, what you do? Because tomorrow there is no session. You had Saturday and Sunday. So I want you to be revise the CSS. Okay, once again, revise the CSS and come back so that you'll have the knowledge. Plus, I'm giving the notes for you. Please integrate your Bootstrap in your Angular application. Test it and check it whether it is working or not. Because when you're coming on Monday, if you're facing any challenges, let me know. Okay, guys, all of you online people, any queries? No. Hello. Fine. Thank you then.